Not really. Life's a bittersweet. I'm going after the rail on a crazy train. I'm going after the rail on a crazy train. Let's go.
What's going on, everyone? Train Freak here, and this is Sidetrack Sunday for the last Sunday of the month of September. So typically this would have been Ray's weekend, but Ray had something going on, so me and him swapped, and that's why he hosted Sidetrack Sunday for the third week, last week, and that's why I'm hosting it today. So today's show it's going to be a fun one. I'll tell you this, what I originally had planned, I was waiting on a package, and I was hoping that it would come in time to do a how-to type thing, something, a first attempt for me. And U.S. Customs ended up holding my package for several days as it was coming from Canada. And so I finally got updated tracking a couple of days ago, and it said my package will arrive tomorrow. So with that being said, we're going to have to do something a little different. But we are going to award out these. So for those who participated in the contest a few weeks ago, and it's already closed, we will award those out later tonight. So before we get going any further, let's see who all we have in the chat. So starting off, we have Arty, Ausmerica Model Railroading, Arty Zearo. And he says, I get the cookie this morning, because he's the first one here. So Curly Express or Dwight responds, what kind of cookie do you want? So I told Dwight to make him a snickerdoodle. We got Robert Darby here. Trackside Mike's here. John Noful. We got Wigwag Workshop. That's Steven. Stormy Sky Rail Production. That's Jenny. So welcome, Jenny. Hillbilly Railroads here. So the Scott. And of course, Arty and Dwight were talking about, cookies and stuff. And Dwight, I expect you to film a video of you making a cookie, boxing it up, and shipping it to Australia and send it to Arty. And if you don't know how to make the cookie that he wants, I'm sure YouTube can always help you. So, and let's carry on. And I just got a message from Heath. Are you getting a package from They Make It Like That from Tim? I am expecting that package to come in, but that's not the one that got held up by customs. It was another package. So Heath messaged me privately on that one. So now I know Heath is here. So I'll go ahead and say Humanity Junction's in the house. We've also got Schuylkill River Valley. So there's 2 of the other STS convicts in the house. We got Steve 87th PSAP here. Derail Daryl, what's going on, buddy? He is in the house as well. And for those who don't know, Derail Daryl has been doing a Wednesday show. I think it starts at 7 o'clock Eastern or 8 o'clock Eastern. I can't remember. So, Daryl, you can put that in there. But he's got like a group panel, and he just lets, people come on. And it's pretty cool show. I wish I could catch it every week, but I'm not able to. And there I see where Heath popped in, saying hi to all the model citizens out there. We got Thomas Grossi in the house, so welcome, Thomas. And the chat just blew on me. Let's see. Hope I didn't miss anyone. All right, so I'm just going to continue where it carried off. All right, let's see. Who else? We got Joe Rader in the house. And Mr. Jimbo Trains is here. And let's see, who else do we got? Dan's Model Railroading Journey. So welcome, Dan. We got Dave BNSF N-Scale here as well. BNSF CSX Bob is here. We got Opa Dodge. Anthony Dodge, the Model Train Outsider, is here as well. And he's slowly working his way to acquiring American trains because he has a UK train now. So he's slowly making his way from Germany to the US. I'm just giving you a hard time there, Anthony. Let's see. Who else we got? We got Mason-Dixon Railroad here. We've got Ramoan as well. And let's see. Man, y'all are chatting it up, so that's a good thing. Split Rock's here. Norman Rowe is here. So a lot of people saying hi to everybody else, so that's a good thing. We got Ian from Lehigh River Subdivision here as well. We got Marky Saunders here. He's pretty much saying he's going to be lacking in the background. And I got something here from Mr. Manny Fernandez. So let's see if this works right. So thank you, Manny. Much appreciated. All right, and let's see, who else do we got here? I think I already mentioned Trackside Mike is here. So some people came in early and kind of stepped out just to come back. We got Gerald Stewart. So welcome, Gerald. And let's see. Savoon Gasol, SG and DFRR. So welcome. That is a tongue twister of a channel name. But it's a cool channel name. Train Fan 120's here. Welcome. We got Grandpa Rails in the house. Let's see who else we got. Derek Alexander here. And yes, Split Rock. All of us STS guys are convicts in the asylum. We got Rick's Railroad here. So welcome. Charlie McGowan's Patrick Hill Station. Welcome. And I'm still going. We got Shay's N-Scale here as well. So looks like a lot of people have already joined in just to see what kind of chaos we can cause tonight. David's Z to G is here as well. And I still have yet to catch up to the chat. And let's see. Oh, now I've caught up to the chat. So if I ended up missing your name, go ahead, say hi again. And that way I can give you the proper hello to you. And so, yeah, like I said, we will be giving away these later tonight for those who entered the contest. The first one up on the docket, we have a N scale. This is a Fox Valley's model. Put it a little closer. And this is one of the Norfolk Southern Heritage units, the Monongahela. I hope I pronounced that right. Really beautiful model, and it is even still in the plastic, so unopened. But yeah, really, really nice locomotive there. We've also got this BNSF. This is a Bachmann, and both of these are only DCC ready. So, and this is a Jeep. Yeah, Jeep 40-2R. That's what it has on the locomotive. But yeah, there you go, BNSF. So for those who run kind of a more modern, it doesn't matter if, you run BNSF, UP, any of the Class 1 railroads. A lot of times you will see some type of foreign power on other railroads. Most of the time it's the 6 axles, but every once in a while you might see a 4 axle. Hey, Jeff, the railroad enthusiast, is here. So welcome, Jeff. All right. So the plans for tonight was I was going to have Drew with the White River line up with me tonight. And he was going to basically walk me through making my first turnout, my first hand-built turnout. And the problem is the package that I'm waiting on is from Fast Tracks. So unfortunately, I do not have the PCB boards to solder my rails to. So is Drew stuck in customs? No, he's not stuck in customs. And my package is out of customs. It is, the last I checked, it's in Illinois, on its way to Little Rock. And then, like I said, I should get it tomorrow. Hey, we got Sparky in the house. And Sparky, I owe you this one from doing this at the very end of my live stream. That had it was me and Robert doing an operation. So here you go, buddy. So Sparky actually ended up waiting until I had the closing credits on my screen, and he sent me a really, really nice super chat there at the end. So I owed you that one for sure. And it looks like someone else popped in, and the chat is just blowing up. By Manshed's here. What's going on, Aaron? So, and I think, all right, so we're caught back up. So Sidetrack Monday, unfortunately not. I'm not going to be able to do a Sidetrack Monday. But what I plan on doing is me and Drew are talking if I can be able to do Sidetrack Sunday for the month of, he said try to sneak it in the last time. If I can do Sidetrack Sunday for the month of October, I've got a Scouts camp out that same weekend, so I might be contacting one of the members to maybe do a switcheroo or something. Then Drew just told me to get in touch with him, and he would make plans to come on and walk me through either making a number 5 or a number 6, because I currently have the number 6 jig in and the point form tool. I've also got the stock rail tool as well. But what I ordered was the number 5 jig and the number 5 point form tool. And I've also ordered the PCB boards and the micro engineering rail joiners as well, since I'm using micro engineering rail. So I've got the rail in. I've got my ties in from Kapler Lumber Company, so y'all need to check them out. Their website's kind of very, I would say, 1990-ish. It's doesn't look updated at all. It's not a modern website. But I was told their ties and their scale lumber is definitely the best to use by local people that are in the NMRA here in Central Arkansas. So they pointed me to them, and I ended up buying quite a bit of ties, just for like $75, and it was like 1,000 of the regular standard ties, and I want to say 500 of both of the longer increments of the ones for the turnouts. Hey, we got Mystic Railroad in the house, so he's saying hello to Captain Blackbeard, which would be me. That's what he calls me, anyways. And then, so yeah, there you go, Captain Blackbeard. So John has traded the voodoo for witchcraft since he moved up to the New England area. So And let's see, who else popped in? I thought I saw someone else pop in as well. Let's see. Martin Searsman is here, so welcome. Alrighty, so hey, we got Marty M in the house. What's going on, buddy? I hope you're doing good out in the Arizona heat. Talked to you on the phone the other night, so. And Tom's Trains and Things in the house wanting to know if he won anything. Tom, did you even enter the contest? That's the question. All right, so let's get started off with, we'll talk about the contest. So we had quite a few entries in. I didn't even count the entries because I just kind of skimmed through just to make sure that I had the right answer. And let's see, we got Steve saying Jason Kapler is good stuff. Only a couple miles from me. Did a pickup last time he ordered. Well, there you go. So, and Split Rock wants to know if he needs a bingo card again. Nope, not this time. Bingo was fun while it lasted, but the problem with this past summer with everything that I've had going on is bingo takes a lot of time to set up. Guaranteed. So when I saw Derail Daryl do his contest video, I contacted him, asked him if I could mimic it, but make it where it fits my railroad. And he was absolutely for it. So I'm kind of digging this way, this new way. So, yeah, there we go, Ian. The National Model Railroaders Anonymous. That's you pretty much got it right there. And Arty, what contest? I've been robbed again. Well, there was a video, and I even did a reminder on it too. I had that contest up for like 2 weeks. So, all right. So, for those who entered the contest, there was a few of you that got it correct. Let me see here. There was actually 4 in scalers, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 HO scalers that got the correct answer. So, and the correct number, well, there was quite a few of you that were off by like 1 or 2 numbers. And I think the first piece of rolling stock threw some of y'all off because some of the questions stated the amount of box cars only. And that first car was counted when it shouldn't have been counted. And that first car was actually a reefer car. I think it's up here somewhere. So, but the correct answer was 1902. So I had some 1901s, 1903s, 1904s, but the correct answer was 1902. So we're going to do the wheel picker here in a little bit. And was that a 2-door? No, it was it's a single door. Reefers are single doors. They're a plug style door, but they're still a single door car. But if I said box car, yes, a reefer is a refrigerated box car. However, it is not built exactly like a box car. The interiors are very different, and the exterior is also a little different. So I said box cars only, not refrigerated box cars. So that was the trick question there. So you really got to pay attention to the wording. And yes, Tim, I know you're saying reefers are box cars, but if you look at the AAR codes, box cars are XM. Reefers, depending on the type, is either an RB or RS. So they're not exactly the same. So, all right, guys. We got Corey in the house. So welcome, Corey. And let's see here. And Mystic says, let's go back to bingo. I might one of these days. You never know. Exactly, Steve. That's like a flat car and a heavy flat car. It's very different. Roy Eltham's in the house. So, yeah, for those who study up on your AAR codes, because that would tell you exactly the different type of cars and their purpose. So, all right. So, yeah, unfortunately, now that I gave the answer out, I know it kicked a few of you out, but I'm not going to do the contest right away. So I think what we're going to do tonight is kind of a hangout session. So Sparky says I'm not old enough yet to play bingo. Could a reefer be used as a boxcar? Yeah, it could be. But is it a boxcar? Is it the same standards as a boxcar? It might be. It could be used as a boxcar, but is it the same standard? So that's a good question. That's kind of like, can a boxcar be used to be the same purpose as a covered hopper? Boxcars used to carry grain. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the Canadian railroads, mainly Canadian Pacific, used 40-foot boxcars to haul loose grain until, what was it, the 80s? So, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, a reefer could be used as a boxcar. That is a very good statement. And do all reefers come out of Jamaica? That's a good question. I think some of them come out of India. So if you get some Hindu Kush out of it. But yeah, that's a different subject for a different day. And George, yes, I did get your email. So George, welcome, Whitewall Wheels, one hardcore MOH. So welcome, George. Man, I am already getting thirsty here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to do this. So for anyone that wants to come up, whoops, I threw that away again. For anyone who wants to come up and hang out and chat, I posted the link up in the comments section. So anyone is more than welcome to come up and, yep. David Z to G, you're making me crazy, Jason. I know, right? I'm a crazy person. The High Plains Drifter, welcome. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as my plans for tonight, it got shot kind of at the last minute, and I was kind of like, well, don't really know what to do. So I did contact my channel members that are the conductors and hire. And one of the perks of being a conductor is sometimes I'll throw out a poll. And so their poll was, well, since my plans got shot, what should I do for Sidetrack Sunday? I said, start on a new building kit, operations, decoder install, or just do a hangout, chat, and possibly bring people up. And 3 out of 7 voted for the chat, and all the others had 1 or 2 votes. So all right. So we got I'm a Train Meister 2. Hi all. I'm new to the chat. So welcome. I'm a Train Meister 2. Welcome to the channel. And welcome to Sidetrack Sunday. And John is saying, I don't know how to get in. So all you got to do is click the link. As long as you got a camera and a microphone, you can pop up on screen and we can join me. So what if we are just a track maintainer? I don't know. What if we are just a track maintainer? It's a good question, Split Rock. All right. And I just want to make sure that I did not miss someone coming up in the chat. So, all right. So right now it looks like no one is popping up. So we might give them a couple of minutes. Oh, but Mystic, what if I shaved the beard, would I still be Captain Blackbeard? Probably not. You would have to give that name to Arty. Even though I think Arty might fit that personality just a little bit better than me. But yeah, that's a good question you got to ask yourself on that one, Mystic. So it's a sidetrack, which usually gets sidetracked in a big way. Absolutely. I mean, we're already talking about Jamaica. So, and what happens down in Jamaica, I mean, that's not really sidetracking. That's pretty much like derailing. All right. So it looks like we got someone popped on, but all I see is their shoulder and their elbow. So let's see if we can bring them on screen. Hey, John, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
How's it going, buddy?
All right.
So you got anything that you would like to share, or
No,
what?
I was gonna start working on the layout tonight, and I got a note on my door saying I had to bury my closet for the water to be turned off. So
Oh, you got to get the
Yeah.
water turned off. Well, that ain't good.
for the outside water to be turned off for the winter,
Ah, okay.
I can't see anybody else.
Well, it's just me and you on panel right now. No one else has popped up yet, but everyone is still in the chat. So I don't know if you can see the chat or not. Sometimes as a viewer, you can't. Normally, it's only the host that has, a good, view of both the video and the chat. High Plains is asking, where am I from, Arkansas? So where do I currently live, or where did I grow up? Because that would be two different towns. I grew up in Pine Bluff, which is a humongous cotton belt railroad town, but the Mopac also went through there too. Currently, I'm just right outside the Little Rock area. I'm about an hour away from Manshed. So, all right. So, John, what are we working on the layout? So, fill us in what you're working on.
I'm actually going to start building the layout.
Oh, building. Okay.
I
So, what are we
tore it all
building?
apart because I messed up and I cut the boards wrong, so I had to start over.
Okay. So, what size are we going to go with? And we got some people asking if you can adjust your camera so they can see your face.
Oh yeah, I can probably do that.
There we go. All right. So what kind of layout are we building?
HO.
Okay, what size?
4 by 6 by 4.5, I think.
Okay. So kind of a smaller.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it going to be like a rail fanning layout where you're just watching a train go in a circle, or is it going to be a switching layout, or a little bit of both?
It's actually a switching layout.
Oh, cool. Okay, so what railroad are you planning on running as far as your switching layout?
Anything I feel like running.
All right. That's a good answer. Good answer. Are you going to be air specific or?
No, just whatever. Just whatever I want to do.
Awesome. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So, and you said HO, you said like a 6 by 8. So that's a little bit wider than a sheet of plywood. So that's not a bad size layout for switching. So it looks like we got some other people in here. So welcome, Nisi J. And let's see, does someone else pop in? And Sparky said, does John not like us? But then he said after you moved it, that's better. So there you go. All right, let's see. But yeah, okay, so that is not where I live, Mystic. That is about 45 minutes north of me. All right. Oh, we got Edward from Happy Valley Hobbies here. So welcome, Edward. All right. So for those who did not get the link, anybody and everybody is welcome to pop up. And then, of course, every time I hit that button, the super thing wants to come up. All right. Let's see here. Make sure I didn't miss anything while something was going on. The sidetrack witness protection system. Not sure what Split Rock is talking about there. Probably further back in the chat. So yeah, Nisi J is here. I ain't seen Nisi much lately. So how goes it, Nisi? And Tim is saying that I look like a hobbit. I could see that. I could see that. So Sparky is saying, okay, so Heath wants to know, who is John and what is his channel? So, John, is your channel just your name? Or do you have a separate channel?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure.
I'm not sure.
All right, so I would assume it's probably your name since that's what I see in the chat. Shortline 614, welcome. So we got quite a few people in today, or this evening. Depending on where you're at, it could be in the morning. I don't know what time it is in Australia. Maybe Arty can tell us. But yeah. But anyways, so you got anything special that you want to share with us before I pop you down?
No.
Okay. So we're building a new layout. So we're going to be making videos of it.
I don't know how to do that yet.
Thank you. Whoops. There we go. Thank you, John, Schuylkill River Valley, for posting John's link. So, oh, we do have a question. John is not sure what he's modeling or how he got on YouTube. And Heath is saying, oh, that's John Nuffle. Now, I am pronouncing the last name, right? It's a silent K. What is it?
You actually pronounce the K.
Oh. So is it the N is silent?
I don't know on that one.
Okay, so how do you pronounce your last name?
Knopfel.
Knopfel. Okay. That's interesting. Oh, and it looks like we got someone else popping in. So, all right, John. Well, I'm going to hop you down. Thank you for popping up on Sidetrack Sunday and being a part of the show. And, man, I hope you can find a way to figure out how to post some videos up on your channel because, man, I'd like to really see, and I'm sure others in the chat would really like to see what you plan on building. So yeah. All righty.
All right.
All right. Well, take care and have a great one, my friend. Charlie, how's it going?
Good. I just hope that you can all understand my accent.
I can understand it. And hold on just a second, because I got to do this for Derailed Daryl. Holy smokes, dude. $50. Holy smokes, man. Wow. Dude, you did not have to do that. But Cab Crew Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it is 7 o'clock my time. Every Wednesday live stream, come and join. He does, like I said earlier in the show, he does a panel every Wednesday. So, Charlie, what are we working on?
I'm in Toronto, but obviously not originally from here. I originally hailed from Glasgow, Scotland. Anyway, welcome to Partick Hill Station. And I'll give you a quick little tour. So, Partick Hill Station is a station in the west end of Glasgow in Scotland, close to where I grew up. Now, this doesn't resemble it in any way, but I've created this little town scene with the main street, and below that, the station. And there are 4 mainline tracks through there. And I've started constructing the tunnels because the main stations in Glasgow had tunnels entering and exiting the station. And as we go around here, you can see that's an old tenement building that I'm in a process of building, which was indicative of what was in Glasgow prior to the 1960s. And so the table, it's about 9 by 10 approximately. And I have Homoso on the top of the table. Now, everything here is 00 scale, and that's Triang, Hornby, Bachman, Lima. And I'm still in the process of trying to complete the track design and decide where I'm going with it. But as you can see, I've got a variety of steam, diesel, and electric trains that were common in Britain up until, the steam trains up until the late 60s, especially in Scotland. And then, diesel and electric following that, with some classics like the Pullman, the Midland Pullman. This is a Princess class and that's a black 5. And I've got a number of little projects here on the go to try and fix it or repair these locomotives. And moving round, I built this bridge out of mat board. And the fencing here, the safety fence, is I got this mesh from car body shop department at the local hardware store, and some plastic rails. And coming back around here, there's the LNER, the mallard.
Man, you've got a lot going on there. It looks really, really good.
Yeah, it's a busy little place. As I say, I have to focus on finishing projects. I'll show you this thing here. A few years back, I was over in the UK, and hope you can see this. So there was an offer from a magazine. I saw it at the airport, and they were offering a locomotive. It's plastic, it's static, with a magazine for, let's say $8 or $9. And every 2 weeks they would come out with another one, and it'd be a different locomotive. So I've got a stack of them there, a nice little collection, but it's just taking up more room. Anyway, I just thought you'd like to see the layout.
Oh, yeah.
And thanks very much for allowing me in.
Yeah, absolutely. So before I let you go, I'm going to make sure no one's got questions for you. Sparky mentioned something about he would want a wig for that. Sparky, I've already sent you my copy of my wig. So, but let's see here. Looks like Off the Rails is here. So OTR, welcome. And we got Pirates of the Model Trains. Mickey Collins is here. Welcome, Mickey. Ain't seen you in a hot minute. And let's see, who else do we got here? And Split Rock says, it's a show off your layout night on STS. He likes that. So, Split Rock, you can thank the channel members for doing that. And Shay is saying that I need to get a Blackbeard wig so the name would fit. Andrew Estep's here, so welcome, Andrew. And let's see, who else we got going on? And he's saying STS is going to international. Now we need Opa Dodge to represent Germany, and Arty up here to represent Australia, and Nissy J for Florida. So there you go. And let's see. So we do have a question. So does Charlie live in the US or UK? I think you said Toronto, so that would be Canada.
Yes, I do live in Toronto, Ontario.
Okay,
but
so
I'm originally from the UK. I'm originally from Scotland.
Okay, and so have you been over to Sparky's train shed to run some of your trains yet?
No, I have not. Waiting on the invitation.
There you go. Drive the mallard around his big, massive layout.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a big one.
Hey, Nathan Delay's here. Welcome, Nathan. And Sparky is saying he was just in Toronto today. So how about that?
Or maybe he was down at Mini Prince in Toronto to see the Canadian Mountaineer train, I think.
Okay, and so we got a couple of questions, and then I got a couple other people down in the basement.
Okay.
And Andrew Estep wants to know, do you limit your modeling to the LMS?
No. As you can see, that's LMS there. And on the opposite wall, I've got LNER.
Ah, there we go. Yeah, I remember you showing the Mallard, which I knew was LNER.
Yeah. Plus, I've got British Rail and various names of following that British Rail, British Railways, etc.
Right. So my life track says, does Charlie drink brew with the
I am brew? Oh yeah, it's the best drink in the world.
There you go. Split Rock wants to know, is that 00 gauge Hornby?
Yes, it is. 1 to 76.
So it's just a tad bit bigger than HO scale. And I heard the rumor that 00 cage came to be. Oh, so you do have some HO. You got a nice chassis unit there.
Yeah.
Is that a, what is that, a Train Master? Looks like a Morse Fairbanks Train Master.
It's a Tyco.
Okay. So I was told that the reason why the Hornby went 00 is that the motors were not small enough to make HO.
Not really sure if that's true.
Is that true? So
no, I'm not really sure if that's true.
That was something I heard a couple years ago. I never really followed up on it to see if it was true or not. So
yeah, the Brits just like to do their own thing.
I could understand that. Well, see, that's like, you know, I've got some of my turnouts are Pico.
Yeah.
And of course, if I'm using code 100, I've noticed that the rails are the same gauge. However, the height of the ties on the Pico turnouts versus whether it's Atlas, Walters, you name it, the height of the ties on the Pico ones are just a little bit taller.
Yeah,
and I would assume that's for 00 gauge and not for HO scale.
Yeah, and you know, the early Triang locomotives, they had large flanges. So before they came around with Pico, they had variations of Triang track, which had a different height. And now with the older Triang locomotives running on Pico track, they're sometimes a little bit noisy because the flanges are too big and they run on the little rails, the rail ties at the bottom.
Okay. Well, before I pop you down, because like I said, I got a couple others in the basement. Sparky said you can come by anytime, send him an email, and he said, yes, bring your trains.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that, Sparky. Going on a big cruise starting on Wednesday, so it'll be some time before I can take you up on that offer.
Well, there you go. All righty. Well, Charlie, I appreciate you popping in.
Thanks very much.
Have a good one, my friend. Yeah,
appreciate
take care.
It. Bye for now.
All right, so I'm going to catch back up in the chat before I bring the next victim of my episode of Sidetrack Sunday up. We've got Low Country Railroad here, so welcome, Low Country Railroad. And if anybody else popped in and I did not say hi to you, like I said, make sure you pop in the chat so that way I can give you your hello. All right, next victim. We've got Thomas Grassi. What's going on, Thomas?
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
Doing good. And hey, just FYI, I am really looking forward to working on your DD40.
Yeah.
So I plan on doing it live.
Yeah.
So you're definitely going to want to pay attention to that one for sure.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one.
Yeah, because so for those who don't know, Thomas has sent me a couple of locomotives in the past that I installed sound decoders in for him, and he sent me a, what is it, a Ather? Is it a blue box or is it a Ready to Roll or Genesis?
Ready to roll. They're ready to roll.
So he sent me a UP DD40X, which requires 2 decoders. So, and I've had people, you know, within our community and outside the community asking me, how do you do the install on that? So I definitely plan on doing that live because there's not a lot of people that's done the install on that. So really, really looking forward to it. But anyways, how are things going in your direction?
Well, I just posted a video today about how it was a non-productive weekend here. And I showed this in the video. This is a part of my 3D printer.
Oh, nice. No, that's not nice.
No, it's not nice.
That looks like it broke.
Well, it didn't break. What it was the rosin spilled out, leaked out of the rosin bin and onto this.
Oh, you got a rosin printer. Okay.
Yeah, this is a curing screen, and it leaked on there. And I tried to scrape all the film off of this, and then you can get film to replace it. But I have to get the replacement part for this whole thing. So that was one thing. And this is what I was trying to print. See how it didn't print right?
No, I'm assuming that it looks like it was supposed to be like a metal grain.
No, this was
Copper?
I designed this. This is an oil tank.
Oil tanker. Okay. That I was going to say something in that area, but yeah, it looks like it didn't print right.
Right. It didn't print right because all this rosin leaked underneath the rosin bin. So that was, and then I was playing around with my turntable and it wasn't working. And then this one little engine here has a decoder in it, but the wheels just keep spinning, and I don't know why the gear isn't engaging. So I got to figure out how to do that next. So that's the next thing I have to work on.
Okay, so yeah, resin. Okay, so they're saying resin, not rosin.
Yeah, it's right.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
I've used 3D printers in the past. Actually, where I work at, we have a 3D printer. It's an old MakerBot, which MakerBot I believe is out of New York. I think New York City. And I've never used the resin printers. So, but of course, I was always told if you're building something big, you use the filament printers. And if you're building something small that you want a lot of detail in, you use the resin printers. However, resin is a lot more fragile, I guess would be the word. But as far as the detail and stuff, resin's supposed to do a whole lot better job. But I do not have access to a resin printer, so I don't exactly know how it works on the ins and out.
Yeah.
So
well, I've been printing a lot of small things for my layout. I printed a bunch of buildings out, and they all came out nice. And I built a container car, 40-footer, and it came out okay. And then I just made some propane tanks, the 1,000-gallon ones, and I laid them on, stuff like that. And I even printed a person. I had a pole bearer that I printed, and I got another one for the other side of the casket to print out yet, and stuff like that. So,
okay.
Yeah, so I can do all those things on the rosin printer. I sent the STL file I created to Jim Tedesco, and he has a filament printer, so he said he was going to try to print it and see how it comes out for him.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Split Rock wants to know, what scale do you model?
HO.
HO scale.
Yeah.
So for those who are interested in buying a train for Christmas, HO is the best way to go because that's Santa Claus's favorite scale.
Yeah.
So ho, ho, ho. There you go.
All right. Yeah.
All right, man, we've got three more people popped up down in the basement. So let me see make sure there's no more questions for you, and then I'm going to pop you down and we'll get to the next guy.
Sounds good.
So, well, hey, I'm not seeing anything. So, like I said, I really look forward to working on your locomotive, and I promise you that I am going to do a live stream on it. So when I get, things in my schedule situated, it probably won't be on a Sidetrack Sunday, but it will probably be like a random live stream on a weekend or something. So
yeah, that's fine.
Really looking forward to it, and I'll definitely let you know when I do that live stream, so that way I'll make sure you're in attendance.
Yeah, I get notified when you put up videos, so I'll see that now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Thomas. Have a good one, bud.
Okay, everybody have a great weekend. What's left of it? We'll see you later.
All right. Take care.
Yep.
All right. We got Rusty Possum Bayou in the house. So welcome, Rusty. All right. So who is next in the basement? We got quite a few people down in the basement. Let's start off with Shortline 614. Michael, how's it going?
Hello. How are you?
Doing good. I really like that hat.
Yeah, well, it's I joke that me and you are a part of an exclusive club, that there's only 3 cotton belt modelers in existence. Me, you, and a guy that I saw on the NMRA website. So
there's not many. I can tell you that there is not many. I know a few people that they'll model like several railroads, and cotton belt will be part of their railroads. That
yeah,
they
like
model,
Southern Pacific.
Yeah, like some of the guys here in Arkansas, they'll model like Mopac, Cotton Belt, SP, Frisco, like multiple railroads, but they don't really just pick one,
Yeah.
to make it their primary railroad. But yeah, I'm digging the hat for sure, man.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's rather weird because I'm a Cotton Belt modeler. It's my favorite railroad, but I've never been to Missouri or Arkansas or any of those places. I'm in Virginia. But
okay.
It's kind of an interesting story how I came to like the Cotton Belt, and it's mostly. Let me see if I can find the book. I got a hold of this, which is Fred Fraley's Blue Streak Merchandise, which is about the Cotton Belt. And I read this book and I fell in love with it. And I said, hey, I want to model the operations of this. Egg, nice. So
yeah.
that's how I was just drawn to fast freight operations and stuff like that. What year and location? Well, I have a layout, but it's O scale. I've only just started HO scale in the past 2 years, really. And but I plan on modeling the. I kind of have a conceptual idea of what my eventual layout will look like. I'm answering Split Rock's question, but it's going to be period from about 1970. It's kind of interesting, right? Because the operation scheme that I want is from the mid 60s. However, I really like tunnel motors, right? But the tunnel motors only came about in 1973, and by that point, Southern Pacific and the Cotton Belt were starting to go downhill. So it's a 60s operating scheme with 70s motive power. So when you look at the layout, it will look like mid to late 70s. The specific area would probably be Pine Bluff to my basic idea is I've always been attracted to model railroads with that model the interaction of more than one railroad, right? So my idea is it would be the Cotton Belt between Pine Bluff and Brinkley, and then the Rock Island from Brinkley into Memphis. So that's what my
So
my
are you
layout
going
would be.
So are you going to be like try to make it more prototypical?
Yeah.
Or are you going to do freelance on your layout?
This I'm going to try and make it prototypical. It's going to be built for operations, although obviously with it's not going to be point to point. It's going to be continuous loop. So if I want to go in and run trains, I can. They ran the BSM in the tunnel motor era. Yeah, I know that. But the thing is that when the BSM was really at its height in the 1960s, the tunnel motors weren't around yet. I want to model the operations at the kind of peak, which was about the mid 60s, but with 70s motive power, because I like that more.
So another book you need to look and see if you can find is, if you don't already have it, and you might already have it, is this one.
Oh.
So there you go. That's another good book to have.
It is.
And then there's a couple other books out there as well.
Yeah.
From, I can't remember his name, but he's out of Texas. Zephyr Publishing or something like that.
There's one on passenger trains which I need to get a hold of.
Yeah, let me grab them real quick.
Yeah, there's a couple of others. I recently reorganized everything back here, but there are a few articles in Trains Magazine. There's one from 62 that's just a broad overview of the Cotton Belt.
Okay. So, first one it's the same author. You got Cotton Belt Color Pictorial by Stephen Allen Gowen, who also did Passenger Trains of Texas.
Yeah, I need to get those too.
Yes. Very, very good books. And then you also mentioned that you are modeling the Rock Island. So you really need to look at trying to find this book.
All right.
Because that has to do with the what they call the Choctaw route, which is from Little Rock to Memphis. And of course, the Cotton Belt had trackage rights all the way from Brinkley to Memphis. And so it's got a lot on that.
What's interesting is that I could potentially bring a third rared into it, because the Cotton Belt, until they bought that segment off the Rock Island when it was liquidated, they actually used the Illinois Central's yard in Memphis. Mm-hmm. And the Cotton Belt yard in the East St. Louis was right next to the IC yard. They were both called Valley Junction. So combined with the Cotton Belt also had a lot of in the 60s, they signed a lot of run-through agreements, so it was fairly common to see foreign power. So I got a lot of options.
Well, and don't forget, but there in Pine Bluff, you also had the Cotton Belt interchange with the Mopac.
Indeed, yeah.
So, and it's there in Pine Bluff because that's where I grew up. So that's my hometown, my stomping grounds. I could tell you the whole city on the back of my hand. But there in downtown Pine Bluff, you talk about like street running. The Cotton Belt ran down 3rd Street or 3rd Avenue, right down the middle of it. And the Mopac ran down 4th Avenue. And eventually they built a Union Station there to service both the Cotton Belt and the Mopac. So it didn't matter which railroad that you were part of, you could go in there and get a ticket and get on whatever train you needed to get. They had 2 separate ticket booths inside.
I never knew that the Cotton Belt had street running. I'm actually a big fan of street running myself. So
yes, they did down 3rd Avenue. And I mean, technically UP still street runs today. It's not where you could easily cross over. It's like a raised concrete platform, but one side of 4th Street goes down one side of the tracks. The other side of 4th Street comes on the other side of the tracks. But eventually they abandoned 3rd Street Avenue and tied into 4th and then split on the other side of town. So 4th Avenue has a double track main going right through the middle of the street. So that was another thing that the city wanted to do because it was a lot of complaints. You know, if you got stopped by a train on 4th Street and you're trying to, get through the downtown area, and then lo and behold, by the time you get to 3rd Street, oh, here comes another train. So it created a lot of, log jams as far as city traffic goes. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be interesting because like I said, I'm also modeling the same area, but, I got Brinkley on my layout. However, I'm more of what you call a proto-lance, prototypical operations freelance layout. So,
it's probably going to be more proto-lance. It's probably going to be more like yours, where I'm going to try to make it as prototypical as possible, but it's model railroading.
So I want to see
you kind of have to.
Yeah, I want to see you build the grain elevator in Stuttgart.
Yeah, I probably won't have this layout for a while. I have locomotives, I have cars, stuff like that, but I probably won't be able to build this layout for a good few years. And even then, the first version is probably going to be even a watered down version of what I have. I might considering, okay, if I just had a smaller space, what would I have to cut out and whatnot? Okay. I joke that I'm on version 0 of this layout because it doesn't exist yet.
Hey, it all starts with an idea. So you've got your idea. And so literally you're starting with your layout. Then of course it becomes visual once you start the build of it. So, all right. Looks like we had someone else pop in. Gary Shanks is here. Welcome, Gary. And making sure I didn't miss anybody else. All right. So Split Rock did ask, what models do you currently have?
Let's see. I have 2 SD45 T-2s, one of which being the Bicentennial, the other just being the standard Scarlet and Gray. I have a as delivered SD40 T-2 from Scale Trains. Going to build a modular? I might actually. What else? Athearn Genesis Jeep 40, Jeep 40-2. I'm trying to think. I have a Jeep 7. I have a pair of FTs. Some of the stuff is 50s. Most of it's 70s, whatnot. Well, I have them in
the Black Widow.
In Black Widow, yeah. I've been looking for those, but I can never find them.
This one's custom painted.
Okay. I know Intermountain made a version in that original scheme. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Stewart. That's a Stewart Hobbies one there.
Yeah, bunch of rolling stock. There's probably something I'm forgetting.
I do have the B unit as well.
Nice. If I ever get good at painting up things, I guess an eventual goal is to put like a tunnel motor in that scheme.
There you go. That'd be a pretty cool scheme there.
I like fictional stuff. So I have Athearn Genesis made Southern Pacific Santa Fe locomotives. I have 2 SD45s and an FP45. Okay. Are you an EMD fan? Yes, I am. About half of my fleet are 40s or 45s.
So Cotton Belt started off with a lot of Alco, and then with all of the issues out of the RS units, Cotton Belt pretty much abandoned Alco. And I mean, there was still some later models of the Century models, but mostly EMD, and there was some GE units as well, but mostly EMD was Cotton Belt.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm mostly an EMD fan. So did Cotton Belt have a U-boat? I think they did. They had a few U-boats.
I know they had some -8s and -7s for sure.
I recall reading that one got wrecked in Mexico, so NDAM just turned it into a B unit.
Yeah. So the thing with Cotton Belt getting as big as it really did, I mean, the original route was East St. Louis down to Tyler, Texas. And then, of course, when the SP took over the Rock Island, from the bankruptcy, the route that went from through Kansas, it went through Kansas.
From Tucumcari up to Kansas City, and then from Kansas City across to St. Louis.
So the reason why SP gave it to the Cotton Belt is for tax purposes, basically. So, but
came to be known as the Cotton Rock, which is the greatest nickname for a railroad ever, in my opinion.
Absolutely. So, all right. Well,
I'll get off, but to let more people on. But
yeah, I've got 3 down in the basement, so I'm gonna get to them one after another. But dude, that's awesome to see that you are modeling, my opinion, one of the best railroads ever, one of the best stories. So, but yeah, that's freaking awesome. So it's a pleasure meeting you for the first time face to face. And like I said, I dig that hat as well. So
yeah, I do make videos. My YouTube channel is a mess because I just make whatever I want. Like half of it's like gaming, half of it's like train related, some of it's space stuff, just whatever I feel like making at the time I put up there. So I hopefully within the next few weeks I will be putting out a roster video of what I have in terms of locomotives. So
that'd be cool. I mean, worst case, you could always create a second channel, have one channel for
I don't probably, but
yeah,
it is what it is. I haven't really thought about that, but I'll get off. It's great talking to you, but
yeah, you too.
All right. Bye.
All right. Appreciate it. Take care. All right. Let's bring up the next person. And before I do, John, Schuylkill River Valley, thank you so much for posting all of the links up there. Great asset to have John as a good friend to do that for you.
Hey,
Randall Ellison, what is going on?
Well, I just got back from a trip, and they asked me to stay on the board, so I'm already #1 again. So
are you up in Thayer right now?
I'm at Thayer right now.
Okay. So anything happening? I've noticed the traffic here as far as the UP traffic on the Hoxie sub is really slowed down. What is the BNSF traffic like on the Thayer sub?
I mean, today it's not been what you'd say particularly busy. The train I had to go get the crew off of today was an H. Burkick, which is a Birmingham, Alabama to Kansas City, Kansas train. And they actually they were going to go to Olden, Missouri, which if you don't know where that's at, that's just north of West Plains. I mean, if you go past the 14 Junction, just heading out of West Plains on 63, it's maybe 5 miles north of there, maybe not even that far. So, but they were originally going to tie down Olden. Well, then they changed it to Koshkonong, which is about 8 miles from here. And I had to go get the crew off of that train, and they were too long to clear the crossings there. They were 8,200 and some feet.
Okay.
About 8,200 foot long.
That's pretty long.
The siding is actually 8,500 feet, but they actually had to cut that crossing. That's South Crossing. So.
Oh, wow. So we got Mystic John here giving you some nicknames. The Duke. I don't know if you can see the chat or not, but he said the Duke of Thayer.
I can see it. Yeah, he's been calling me the Thayer Bandit for a while. I kind of like that one. I almost thought about changing my YouTube channel to that. So,
Hey, that'd be cool. He's got the Thea Playa too.
yeah, that's a good one too. But I don't know. Thayer Bandit just has a good ring to it.
All right, so everyone, if you end up seeing a channel by the name of the Thayer Bandit, we all know it's Randall Ellison.
It's probably me.
So there you have it. And Sparky is saying, John who? I want a friend named John too. Hey, everybody's got to have a friend named John. So, all right. Well, I noticed you've been doing some live streams as of lately.
Yeah.
With, I'm going to see they're your nieces, right?
It'd be my niece, yeah.
Yeah.
And her friend.
Okay, so your niece and so I've hopped in a couple of them and watched, and it's pretty entertaining for those who have not stepped in on a Randall Ellison live stream. But
she has demanded to start doing live streams now, so I pretty much have to do whatever she tells me to. You know, she kind of runs everything.
Absolutely.
So, I did one stream without her, and she didn't like that, so. It was that kit building stream where I put the AccuRail kit together. So.
Okay. Well, I've got a couple more people down in the basement, Randall. So you got anything special happening or?
Not really. I was, just before I come on, there was an empty coal train just went through here just a minute ago. So don't look like there's anything coming yet. So I can't see anything. I can't tell the signals are lit or not, but it'll probably be quite a while for anything shows up. So I'll just go ahead and get on out here and let you bring the next guy up. So I just wanted to drop in and say hey. So
absolutely, I appreciate you popping on, Randall.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Take care.
Yep, you too. See you guys.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right, let's bring in the next person.
Hey!
Holy smokes! It's Tom's from Tom's Trains and Things.
How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
Oh, not too bad. Just laying low.
Laying low, and I see you got the Doritos there to keep you full.
Yeah, I got two bags here and one bag in the other room. So I got spicy nachos today, and so those are in the other room. I'm keeping them for a special occasion. Those are a little bit too hot.
Okay. There you go. So what is new with Mr. Tom?
Just laying low this weekend. There's no train shows. So I got to save my money. I got train show to go to next week and then the following week. And then after that is the big one going to Timonium for the meet and greet. So trying to save some money.
So Heath wants to know, why are you not in your bedroom? I thought that was your new fancy streaming spot.
Well, I was in there earlier today. I'm back out here. The only thing is I can't get my camera to work. I got to use my webcam in there. I got a Black Magic thing on my computer for my HDMI cameras, and StreamYards won't pick it up. So I have to come in here.
Okay. Joe Rader is saying, nice Western Maryland shirt.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
So there you go.
Where did I get this? Okay. I don't know where I got it.
Yep.
Probably Hagerstown.
Hagerstown?
Yeah.
Split Rock is saying double fisting the Doritos.
Yeah, there you go.
So
I always try to keep two bags up there.
So I heard earlier today y'all have a little bit of weather action coming y'all's direction in the next few days?
Oh, yeah. It's coming up the Gulf. I don't know if it's going to hit Florida. It might, it's going back and forth, going this and that, 11 o'clock at night, it's over here. 5 o'clock in the morning, it's over here. 11 o'clock in the morning, it's over there. 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So every 6 hours or so, they update it, and it keeps on going back and forth like this. So we don't know where it is. So far, it's in the Gulf. Newcomers to Florida get all freaked out, but I've been here for about 16 years, and it's nothing.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of wind and rain.
Yeah, just wind and rain. We're used to that.
Yeah,
the big one was about 5 years ago.
Being up in Arkansas, we typically get the ones that either come through Texas or through Louisiana. And I mean, even as far inland as we are, we still get a lot of wind and rain.
When I first moved to Florida, I was disappointed because we didn't have any hurricanes, and then we took a trip up to Austin, Texas, and we had on the way up there. That's when Gustav was coming up the Gulf, and we was in Austin. We was going to go to San Antonio, and we seen that it was heading over that way, so we went up north, and then it turned. And we was up in northern part of Arkansas, and we was up on Interstate 20 because we was trying to keep away from Interstate 10. We was up there, and we stayed up, crossed over to Mississippi, and we stayed up in town up there. And everybody from the Gulf was up there in the hotel. There was one room left, and we were hitting the outer bands when we got there. So that was my first hurricane, Gustav.
Okay. Hey, we got the mom and son rail fans here, so welcome and hello to Ray. So Ray is the son of mom and son's rail fan. So welcome, Ray and mom.
I heard the other night that she's taking him to Amherst in a New Year for a Christmas gift.
Ooh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Absolutely. So Mystic John, who was in NOLA, or New Orleans or Nolans, he said Gustav rocked my world.
Yeah, I can imagine. When we hit Houston, I was surprised because in Florida they don't have interstates like that. When we first hit Houston, we hit all those lanes, and luckily we hit into one of the HOV lanes and got out of there real quick when everybody else was trying to evacuate, because they was evacuating New Orleans when we went through there.
Well, and see, so I was talking to, I think it was Steve Childers earlier through text message, and I told him, I said, normally Arkansas typically gets, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas area, we typically get like 2 hurricanes a year on average, and we haven't had any this year so far. And then I've noticed like we're really late in the hurricane season, and we're only at Ian when normally we're kind of like in the S or the T part of the alphabet.
Yeah, it's really slow this year.
Yeah.
When we got Irma, that was 5 years ago. That was September 10th. So that was a slow year too, but it was a real slow one. It stalled in the Bahamas and then slowly came up. But this year's been really slow.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed, because like I said, normally we'll have one, come up through the Gulf, and I mean, it just comes and dumps a whole bunch of rain on us, but no, not this year. So Tom, Split Rock wants to know what to buy at Timonium. So what does Tom buy at Timonium?
I don't know. I haven't been there since 2003. So I have no idea who the vendors are. It was a lot bigger when I was there. They had three of the buildings. They had the Cow Palace and 2 of the other buildings filled up with vendors and trains. So now they just have the Cow Palace. So we'll see what they got there.
So Thomas also says he'll trade you 50 tornadoes for a hurricane and 6 feet of snow.
I don't want any tornadoes. I'll take a hurricane.
Yeah, we had one that
tornadoes
back in
are
April.
A lot worse.
Absolutely. We had one that was very close to my house back in April, and the hail core dumped. And I kid you not, we had hail pinging that big on our roof.
Wow.
And of course, when you have like major hail damage throughout the area, you get all of these phone calls from all of these roofing companies wanting to come out and do an estimate on and replace your roof and stuff. And
we had that earlier this summer. I think I showed a video of it on my live stream. We had about I guess about 11 minutes of hail, and the hail wasn't that big here, but in other parts of the town they must have been really big, because all along the highway there was these little tents set up for hail damage for your car, fix the hail damage. And there must have been about 50 of them along the highway.
Oh yeah. I mean, it didn't pummel long. I want to say it maybe lasted like 45 seconds to a minute.
Yeah.
But I thought the tornado was hitting us, and I looked out the window just to make sure, and I'm just seeing these big white balls that are like, they were bigger than golf ball size, for sure. Just hitting the ground, and I was like, well, at least I know if I got the hail, I'm not getting the tornado. The tornado will be south of it. So, but we did have some damage in the area from it, and yeah, that was kind of a scary night too. So, and Roy Eltham said that he'll take an earthquake over tornadoes and a hurricane. So,
never been in an earthquake. I've been to California. I was only there for about 5 days, but right on the San Andreas Fault. But I didn't experience an earthquake.
Well, I've felt the new Madrid Fault. You know, a few tremors from it, but I've never been like close to an epicenter, I guess. So. New Madrid fault line's pretty active as well. All right. So, hey, we got Kyle Stevens here. Welcome, Kyle.
I see one from Corey. He said, "You still living in Pittsburgh?" Yeah. I haven't lived in Pittsburgh since 1984.
So Sparky says it is Sidetrack Sunday. Have to the script.
There's a script.
Beats me. You got a script? I don't have one.
I don't have a script.
Maybe
What's a script?
maybe Ray kind of held on to it from last week and didn't pass it on. So, but yeah,
Hurricane Agnes. Hurricane Agnes sounds familiar. Yeah. Pennsylvania, coffins flooding in the streets. Wow.
So we got Script Track Sunday. How about that?
Sunday, there you go.
Wow. That's funny. So Tom, you got anything special coming up that you know of, or?
I was going to put up a video today. I did a review on Amazon of this thing right here. It's a Sunfounder kit. Sunfounder sent me that, and I was going to put the video up on YouTube today, but the video that I did on Tuesday about the Villages Train Show, it just shot up today. It was getting like 200 views an hour. And it's had 200 views for the last 7 hours. So I figured, well, I'll just leave that. I'll do the live stream on Monday, and I'll put the video up on Tuesday.
There you go.
So it's a pretty cool kit. It's a Arduino learning kit, and it has a nice little car in there.
It looks like that you could make like like a remote control car or something.
Yeah, it has a remote. I didn't hook up the remote, but I just hooked up the sensors on it and put it in the hallway near the bedrooms where all the doors are, and let it go around in circles, missing all the doors.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty cool. I like it. And it's Arduino.
So Shay's like, I thought Jason was doing a giveaway. Yes, I still have not.
Oh, there's a contest.
Yeah, I haven't gave that or that away, depending on what scale is your preference.
Are you trying to beat Heath in his procrastination?
Hey, well, actually, y'all are the ones helping me procrastinate. And I got more people popping up in the basement. So,
oh boy.
So maybe I should go ahead and do the contest after I pop you down, so that way those who want to go. But oh yeah, so the Mom and Son Train Rail fans. Mom worked on power poles today for her layout, and that was a pretty cool video of how she scratch built some utility poles.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, my beautiful wife is telling me good night. She is at her friends up all the way in Wichita Falls, Texas. So I get the house to myself for a couple of nights. So good night, hun, and I will talk to you tomorrow sometime. All right. And Alan said blame the script. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Always the script.
Yep, absolutely. And she's telling me to behave, and she knows me. She knows me better than that.
Jason, behave. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what that word is. That word does not belong in my vocabulary. No, I'm just kidding. She knows I will. So that means I get to work on layout the whole time. So
There you go.
that's what we get to do. So, all right, Tom, I got 2 more people down in the basement.
All right.
So
Take care.
I'm going to get them. I appreciate you popping on.
Sure, no problem.
And
We'll see you.
absolutely. All right, guys. So before I pop the next one up, which is going to be my favorite scratch or train scratch builder, Mr. Nathan DeLay. He's going to be next. I am going to go ahead and we're going to do the contest real quick. And absolutely, it is. I don't even know why we're called Sidetrack Sunday because we always get derailed. I don't think Sidetrack is really the perfect fit name, but it is what it is. I didn't get to pick the name, so that was Ray's doings. All right, so let's do the contest. We're going to add this to the stream, and you can see that I have not put in any names yet. And that's because I'm going to tell you who is all in the contest. Welcome back, Train Fan 120. All right, so am I giving away Tom? Absolutely not. If I had a couple of his bags of Doritos, I might give those away, but I don't have those either. So, all right, so here are the winners. And I'm going to have the chat hidden for a minute. So these are the people who got the correct answer of 1902 before the contest ended. So first person is Derek Alexander, and he was an HO scaler. We're going to put him in. Next person was Ron Moen, who was also an HO scaler. We got Dwight Curley, HO scale. We've also got Derail, Daryl, HO scale. Yeah, we had 7 HO scale people get in it. Train Fan 120, who is also HO scale. And let's see, Man Shed Railroad, Aaron, who is HO scale. And the last HO scale one is the Crooked River and Eastern, who is HO scale. All right, N scalers. First one, Nutball. Second one is the Savunga Soul, S, G, and D, FRR, who is also an N scaler. We got NS 5107, aka Chasco, N scale. And last but not least, we got Shay's N scale. Of course, he's an N scaler. It's in his name. All right. So let me get back to here. So these are all the names. Let's see if I can do... we'll do a shuffle. We'll do a few shuffles. I wish they had like a hotkey to do a shuffle. It would be nice. I might have to find another wheel picker. All right, I think that's shuffled enough. And he said, "Where is my name?" Well, you didn't answer it correctly. Now, that would be funny if Heath was actually Nutball. That would have been hilarious. So, always 107. No, Sparky, it's 107, not 107. All right. So, before I do that, what I need to do is I need to give a thanks to all of those who have done super chats the last month. channel members, Patreon members, these are the guys who actually help fund these contests. So let me give a quick thank yous to them, and then we'll get right back and do the drawings. All right, so let's get back on to the drawing. All right, so we're going to keep going till we get the first HO and first N scale winners. And Split Rock says he needs to sober up, that he can't read that. Sorry, Split Rock. You can always go and check the replay. All right, here it goes. Spin number 1. Let's see who our first winner is. Dwight Curley. All right, so Dwight is the new proud winner of this BMSF GP40-2R. So good job, or congratulations, Dwight. Make sure you send me an email so that way you can claim your prize. So Roy Eltham said the thank you video was very blurry. Okay, I will try to work on that for next time, Roy. So thank you so much for letting me know. All right, so let's hide that choice. All right, so Dwight's the first winner. Now we're going to spin. So let's go ahead and take all these HOs out. No point of having them in there now. All right. So Dwight Curley. Oh, he's in the chat. Dwight, send me an email. All right. For the N scale one, for the Monon Heritage Unit. Here we go. Shay's in scale. Congratulations. How about that? So Shay's in scale has won the in scale. Let me get that one a little closer. Monon Gahale. Yeah. Something about y'all Northeastern people with these really crazy names. But the Monon unit. All right. Congratulations, Shay. All right. So now I can stop sharing that. All right. So I got a couple more people down in the basement. So let's go ahead and bring them up. So Dwight, Shay, make sure you send me an email. And Dwight, we can talk about that in the email. So definitely get in touch with me on that. Nathan.
Hi, Jason.
How goes it, buddy?
Pretty good so far. Yeah.
So what is happening in Nathan's world? I saw where you're doing a new layout.
Yep. It's operational. Thank goodness. But the random thing I did to the layout so far was I salt from the road, like when they just, or maybe like over time, all the salt, whatever you call it, like dust or whatever, I poured it on layout, but first I glued it, then I put it on for texture reason. I like to like this is what it's gonna look like, so I can paint grass over it, like green paint.
Okay. So, Humanity Junction or Heath wants to know, how is your hand doing?
It's getting better, but I have to wear this only when I'm in public, but I can't take it off. Like it's basically limited to like this way and that way. Yeah, I guess.
Well, at least it's not a hard cast, so at least you can take it off, to kind of let your, hand breathe from time to time.
Yeah, I had a cast that it was like temporary, but it was like a hard cast until had to be cut off to replace it with this. Thank goodness, but that was not a fun time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are we doing any more locomotive scratch builds?
Yes. Speaking of which, first I've got lazy. Like I'll do it later. It's another just Duchess of Hamilton. Based on my first scratch build. I'm gonna rebuild it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So better. What? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No. You go ahead.
So I'm gonna probably do more detail on it. The real one that I first built is my first one, so I make another one to make it better. But I'm gonna reuse the parts to make a Nathan Delay like sort of Duchess, you could say, like my logo. And next I gotta make a I forget what this is called, but I think it's narrow gauge. It's like one of those 1800s vehicles used for trains, but I forget what they're called. But Wig-Wag Workshop asked me to build one, so I think I'm gonna build one.
Okay, that'd be really cool. I mean, you made the Freak locomotive for me, which is really cool. It's right up here on my shelf behind me. So, and then of course I got the one from it was yours and Sparky's contest.
Oh yeah, that was the first one.
And your question was, what was the first scratch built locomotive that you made? And I got it correct.
Yep.
Just in time, because I think someone else guessed it like not even 2 seconds after I did.
Well, that's amazing. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a really cool contest.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we got Real Artist here. So welcome, Real Artist, and he says it's Mo Non-Gahala. So Mo Non-Gahala. There you go. And I got other people trying to put in pronunciations for me. So what about? I'm not even going to say it.
Yeah.
So what kind of locomotive or decoder did I put in the Freak engine, Jason? It's not. This is one that Nathan did for me, and it's not powered. So I guess you would call it a dummy unit. But it sits on it sits on my queen shelf. So, and I told Nathan a dummy unit was fine. So I just wanted something on the display for it. So I'm gonna put it on a piece of track close to the station with the little I guess you would call it a 040, the little Sparky and Nathan switcher too.
Yeah. Oddly enough, this is gonna be off topic, but in Tom's the Tank engine, like kind of earlier, they had the same exact engine, but as a character.
Okay. Here we go. So that he's got you doing the Galloping Goose, which did run on narrow gauge. So there you go. So C.W. McCall actually ended up doing a song on the Galloping Goose. It's actually not a bad song.
Nice. I'm actually thinking of this time to make it way more interesting by use maybe parts I have and make it a runnable train. I have done it with a some people may know as a camper train, which that's what it actually meant to be. But it's this. I can show on my phone real quickly.
Oh, here. Let me make you bigger. I'm gonna make you bigger. How about that? There we go.
So yeah, that's the camper with a British. It's all meant to be British, but if I show this real quick.
Yeah, sure.
This is what it looks like now, but I had to modify it because it wasn't running good and it was stripping a lot of gears, like wearing them out too quickly than usual. So yeah, everything about that is scratch built. Like it's just basic HO scale passenger car or freight car wheels,
Okay.
and then worm gears, anything I could find, and the trucks are just lifelike trucks. Yeah.
So I'm gonna pull up a picture because this is what Steven is saying that he's getting you to build for him. So let me pull this up. So
yeah, that is pretty cool. I think that's the actual one I'm going to do where you have it on big screen. I'm more interested in those than like ones that just look like me like a car, but yeah, definitely that one.
Yeah. So they made what was called, a lot of railroads had what was called a rail bus. So it looked like a school bus, or basically the front half. The Rio Grande and Southern, I think, was the only railroad that took a rail bus, chopped it off, and then put like a boxcar on the back half.
Oh yeah, it does look like that.
So that's and then they got their nickname, the Galloping Goose, and they had several different ones, and they all looked different.
That's pretty good, I think.
So Steven might have to get you to make them all.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think that would be a great idea. I guess one for now, but then over time, yeah.
So yeah, they're funny looking for sure.
Yeah, I think they're interesting at the same time. I remember thinking, I remember the first time I saw them, it wasn't for real, but it was on YouTube, and that was when I was real little. But I had no idea what they were called. Just a regular person watching YouTube before I had a YouTube channel.
Yeah. I know it's the Colorado Museum. I don't know exactly where in Colorado it's at. If anyone would know, Split Rock, Heath, they would know where it's at. But yeah, I want to say they have like a loop that you can actually ride.
Oh wow!
These in a loop, so it looks like Jeepers Creepers. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
something and then, that I admire.
Now, so a lot of the railroads did do some interesting stuff, that's for sure. Southern was one of them as well. But, I would say the first railroad that actually did something interesting would have been the railroad that you made the freak locomotive for me, because they took a American, a 440 steam locomotive, and that was the first cab forward. And that's where Southern Pacific got its inspiration of building the cab forwards.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's a really, really neat concept of how it came to be.
I have 2 cab forwards that I have, but other ones I have given away. But first one was a Randall locomotive. I gave that to someone else as the very first cab forward I built. Second one was yours, and the third one was a CSX cab forward. Mm-hmm. All of them are like sort of the same size because they're that small. But and then one was a CP one that doesn't run, but the only one that does run is the CSX one. It's a good runner, but it kind of goes too fast to be honest. But
gotcha.
That one's almost fully scratchable because I had to replace the motor. It was a Bachmann Bill and Ben, but I had to replace it because the motor was smoking.
Oh, motor smoking, that's not good.
Yeah.
So, Split Rock is saying like Southern's various articulated hoppers, or I think that's what you call them. I haven't seen the articulated hoppers. So, but anyway, so you got anything big coming up?
Yeah, I think I might, but the Northlands right by the Union Pacific one, like the background. I'm hoping to do a YouTube meet and greet there, but it might happen, it might not. But if anyone's interested, not to promote, but if it's all right, I'm hoping to run my scratchable trains there, but we'll see what happens. I have done it before when I first met Heath, but yeah, same one. The same engine will be at Northlands, I hope, and hopefully maybe 2 others. So we'll see.
Oh, that'd be cool. If they get to allow you to run your scratch build trains there, you should definitely go live for sure.
Yeah.
So
I guess sorry, what?
No, go ahead.
I guess the only problem is that I'm not to be picky, but I feel like I'm not a guy who's used to live streams or anything. But it's a good idea. Just it's hard to say by feeling, but a little.
Hey, it's totally up to you. It's your channel. Totally up to you. But I think it'd be really cool.
Nice.
So
yeah, I wrote them an email. Sorry.
So Split Rock says probably has all the comfort and ride quality of a Sherman tank. Well, I would not know what a Sherman tank's ride would feel like. Never rode in one.
I heard German tanks during World War II were smoother than American stuff because that's where they mostly focus on than the target more than the performance or something like that.
Yeah, the Panzers.
Yeah. So
Looks like it was built by a high school shop class, and they got a B-. That's funny.
Yeah. So
like I said, they've got, here's the one with the humongous plow on the front.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that with the others that you were showing.
Yeah, they've got several.
I'm glad those are survivors.
So I think when I read, I think only one of them got scrapped, and then and then someone, I think they rebuilt it, so it's a working replica, but it's not the original.
I think it's kind of still counts to me, but it, like for example, like there has been a similar thing where like Nathan, you are one of the best scratch builders I know, and awesome build, sir. Oh, thank you, Sparky.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with Sparky 100% on that one.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Okay.
So do you plan on doing any more of the bullet shell scratch builds?
Honestly, I feel like that's kind of hard to do, like very hard, because when I first did mine, it was very hard because I tried to do the soy cans, but I had to use a big hammer, like somewhere like a sledgehammer, because it was that hard to bend them. But we'll see what happens. I might turn others into gears, but possibilities are. I mean, the worst part that I experienced is I had to sand down the sandpaper on the bullet shells, because if I didn't, the SAR wouldn't stick so easily. So that was a problem. But yeah.
That makes sense. So, especially if it was the inside of the bullet shell where you had the gunpowder.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that makes absolute sense. Now, is the bullet shells, are they a lot heavier? I would assume they're a lot heavier.
Well, yeah. Well, I think they're a little bit light, but when you put them all together, like one time I made a video about my bullet shell train pulling a big freight train, if that could, and it was one of the Uncle Wilmer's challenges. And I was really surprised of how much it can pull.
I bet. Well, that's like the the die-cast model locomotives, like a MTHHO, Broadway Limited, or even some of the brass locomotives out there. They pull so much more than the ones with the plastic shells, and it's because of that weight. And I mean, even like lifelike, if you find like an old Proto 2000, they would fill the whole inside of the shell with weight, so that way it would pull more. Than like an Atherm Blue Box.
Yeah, actually, the reason why it's called the bullet shell train, I really didn't name it, but it was going to be an Amtrak locomotive originally. I was going to paint it. And then a bunch of YouTubers, because there were so many of them, like saying, no, you should keep it the same. So I did, and why not? Name the bullet train. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Well, Nathan, I still got someone else down in the basement. So
Stanley.
I appreciate you popping up on the stream, and I always look forward to seeing what you're doing as far as your layout builds and your scratch builds on the locomotives, man. You are definitely one creative dude for sure.
Oh, thank you.
So, all right, bud, you take care, and we will see you next time.
See you. Have an awesome night.
All right, you too. All right, so this one is going to be the last person of the night. So saving this guy for last. Well, because he was the last one in the basement too. So we've got Edward.
Hello,
Edward with Happy Valley Hobbies. What's going on, bud?
Well, the thing is that I sort of gotta blame Heath for me starting a channel. But the thing is, when I started my channel about 8 months ago, I was unemployed, so I had plenty of time to do stuff. And then
so here we go.
And then I did, yeah, blame Heath, absolutely. And the thing is that soon after I started the channel, of course, I did something silly and got employed. So it was going from doing pretty much nothing to a 10-hour shift sort of threw my body out of whack for a while.
I believe that.
And so now I'm sort of comfortable enough to actually starting to try to put more effort into into my channel and all that. Like right now, I've been doing just the live streams once a week, but now I'm actually trying to figure out how to be a little bit more professional and all that fun stuff, and how to promote better and etc.
It takes time and practice.
Yes, well,
and it also takes having a very knowledgeable person, that you can easily contact, such as Heath.
Yes.
That really helps with that. So somebody that's very knowledgeable. I definitely I would have to say I definitely need a mentor, trying to get things running and all that. Professional, wrong place. Yes, absolutely. Or would it be amateur hour? I guess. You might as well. I mean, I don't see why not, because I'm definitely not the professional. So,
but I would have to say doing the live streams has been therapeutic, because I would never have gotten as far as I've gotten doing modeling if I wasn't doing it. It's one of those things that going like, okay, I need to actually do something. So I have been getting, doing things like right now I'm practicing on scenery. I've been doing small little dioramas and all that to find out what works, what doesn't.
I've been following that diorama. It looks like a little valley with the bridge going across it.
Yes, that's
like a little...
one of them. Yeah, I got 3, because mainly because I get to a certain point and then it's like I got to wait for the glue to dry and I still have a half an hour, so then I grab another one.
There's nothing more fun than watching paint dry and glue dry.
Yes, but let's see if I could do something silly and change cameras. Can I?
Ooh.
Yes, I can.
There we go. Let me make it bigger.
All right. Now, this is one of the things that I wound up doing. One thing I sort of learned on this one was that I should have left the ground brown instead of trying to paint it like grass and all that, because once put the lichen and trees on there, it just doesn't look right anymore.
Okay.
But another interesting thing is one thing that I'm doing that as far as I know, no one else is doing, is I'm actually doing broad gauge.
Broad gauge. Okay, so that's a little wider than standard gauge, I think.
Yes, that is wider. This is 6-foot gauge.
Okay.
The interesting thing is that the guardrails are actually standard.
Okay.
Let's see.
So I, to be honest with you, I don't know of anybody who models broad gauge.
In fact, I can take this and put, basically put these right onto the guardrails, and
so is there any manufacturers that make locomotives in broad gauge?
not in 6 foot. Apparently, there is a broad gauge society over in Britain that does Brunel gauge, which is 7 foot.
Okay.
7 foot and a quarter. But some of the things that I have been doing, sort of cheating wise, what I found out that a lot of the locomotives that were made in HO in the 60s and 70s, they're sort of like OO, as you stated earlier. Someone was talking about earlier that the motors weren't small enough, so they made the this I think is OO 176 or OO scale.
Yeah, double O gauge.
Yes, double O gauge. Well, HO and double O HO gauge, the gauges are the same. It's just that the scales are different.
Right. So that's why they call it double O gauge and HO scale.
Yes.
Even though it uses the same gauge, and even ON 30 uses the same gauge.
Yes. This actually, if you measure it out, this locomotive is actually 11 foot wide, whereas if it was HO scale, it would be 10 foot wide.
Right.
And that's how I'm sort of kind of cheating, because since this is a larger scale, broad gauge locomotives, sort of like how narrow gauge locomotives are smaller than standard gauge, the broad gauge locomotives were larger. So I'm basically using the larger, the OO scale locomotives. I just recently bought a lathe to see about making axles that would be wide enough. One thing I would have to do with this is modify the cab so it's shorter, because if you put an HO scale person in the cab, they would look small because the scale is larger. So I have to make a smaller cab, and also probably shorten and possibly even shorten in height and width for the tender also.
Okay. Split Rock said, "Don't complain that nothing is made in your gauge. We already get enough of that from every S-scale modeler on the planet." So, but hey, I mean, the thing that S-scale has over O and HO is, man, you get the pick of the litter when it comes to vehicles, thanks to Matchbox and Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
So,
also, fun fact: HO W6, which I think, from what I understand, when it comes to broad gauge, there's no standard between W or B at this point. Okay. Nobody really uses it. But the thing is that this gauge is about 1 millimeter off of S scale or S gauge.
Okay.
So that's why if somebody looks at it real quick and all that, going like, "Oh, that's S scale, S scale," and it's like, yeah, not quite, but it's sort of like, if I remember correctly, SN3 doesn't quite fit on HO scale track.
No, it doesn't.
So it works in the other direction also.
Let's see, that's like so HON3 uses the same gauge of track that TT scale. Now, there's a difference between T scale and TT scale. And TT is tabletop, which is 1 to 120. So it's between HO and N. But you could run a HON3 on a TT scale track. However, the ties are not, correct. They're not the correct scale on it, but you could run it. That's basically saying you're going to do the same thing with the ON30 running on HO code 100 track or code 83.
Well, the reason why I was able to do this is that this is a Hunter Line Queen Post bridge.
Okay.
And the thing is that in the instructions on how they were showing how to build this, this is set up for the NMRA standards. But the thing is that with the model train stuff, they had to widen the loading gauge because they go around shorter turns.
Right.
And so their narrow gauge bridge, I guess they first came out with the narrow gauge. They first came out with the narrow gauge bridge, which was done right to the prototype. And then it's like, they turned around and said, no, in order to, the NMRA has that as narrow gauge because of the shorter turns. So he had to turn around and modify the prototype to be wider. And so I decided, it's like, hey, this is actually wide enough to have, to be sort of like almost the 6-foot broad gauge. And the reason why I'm going with 6-foot broad gauge is because the first railroad I sort of fell in love with was the Delaware and Hudson. And in the in the early 1800s, or 1900s, first they started off with, when they were a canal company, they were 4 foot 3 inches. But then they wound up leasing the Albany and Susquehanna, which was connected to the Erie Railroad, which was 6-foot gauge.
Okay.
And that's why I decided to go with. I want to say more like. I don't want to say more freelance than prototype because, well, there's no 6-foot equipment out there, so I gotta turn around and modify stuff like like this locomotive. So I won't be able to do anything that's until my skill level gets up there. I won't be able to do anything massively accurate. So
okay. Oh, that's interesting because, like I said, you're the first person I know that's doing broad gauge. And, the railroads where I'm from, we didn't have any railroads in broad gauge that I know of. Mostly all the class 1s were standard gauge. And then there was a lot of logging railroads that were narrow gauge in the area. So,
yeah. Broad gauge in the well, the thing is, there was no such thing as standard gauge until after the Civil War.
Right.
Once they made the Transcontinental Act, it's basically this is what the gauge is, and they didn't say they still did not say that it was standard gauge. It's like, okay, this is what the gauge of the Transcontinental Railroad is going to be. And then everyone followed.
Right. Because if you didn't follow, then you had a hard time interchanging your equipment with all the railroads that did follow. And then that could either make or break your business.
Yes.
And so,
and some of them were sort of kind of not that far off from it. The 4 foot 8.5. I think New York Central and the Pennsylvania was like 4 foot 9. So it's like, it was a ½ inch off. Most of the southern railroads were 5 foot. The Great Locomotive Chase was done on a 5 foot gauge railroad.
Okay.
Canada had an unofficial track gauge of 5'6". From my understanding, it's like Canada didn't say this is what the gauge is going to be. They basically said only railroads that are 5'6" are going to have money to help promote it and stuff like that. So it's one of those things. They didn't say it was going to be 5'6", but that was the only place where you had money for. So that's what a lot of them were. Also, I believe there was a couple of railroad lines that went from Canada to Portland, Maine. That was also 5'6".
Okay.
So, yeah. So the interesting thing is Maine also had 2 foot, so they also had one. They had a large broad gauge, and they also had a very narrow gauge.
Yeah, that's like the ride at the amusement park.
Yes.
Like a wooden roller coaster.
Yeah.
And then Tom wants to know, is that the metric foot? So there you have it. Okay. Well, the diorama looks really, really good. I was going to ask you, where do you get your scale lumber from? Because I saw that you individually placed the bridge ties.
Yes. Well, the bridge itself is a 100 line kit.
Okay.
The ties I got from New Tracks because I got a New Tracks jig so I can learn on how to scratch build switches because, well, they don't make switches in 6 foot gauge. So,
right. So New Tracks has a jig for broad gauge?
No, they have a jig for standard gauge, but I'm learning on how to build it in standard gauge so then I can turn around and
make a broad gauge one.
Okay,
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and see, that's actually what I was planning on doing tonight was making my first turnout, and then of course, some of the stuff that I need is not coming in till tomorrow, so and of course I ordered my stuff from Fast Tracks out of Canada, so customs kind of held on to my package for a little bit.
Yeah,
but it's on the way.
It's on the way, but
yeah, it just didn't get here in time. I got everything else. The ties. Let's see, I got them right here. Let's see here. So these are the ties that I got, and it's from Kapler Lumber Company. And so I'm really curious to use these. And of course, one of my bags ripped because of the tape got on it. But this was a $75 package. I got 500 pieces of 16-foot switch ties. So these were 7 inches, or what was considered 7 by 9 by 16. So 7 inch by 9 inch by 16 feet. So scale. And I put it in another Ziploc bag, but that's what they look like. Bring both of us even. There we go.
Yeah. What I did is I wound up buying a package of, since I was buying stuff from Fast Tracks, I also bought a bunch of their their switch ties and actually wound up chopping them to, I forgot exactly what the length was.
Yeah.
It was about 1 foot longer than standard, whatever standard gauge.
So it came with, the package that I bought, it came with 500 pieces of the 16 feet switch ties, 1,000 pieces of the 8 feet 6 inches cross ties, 1,000 pieces of the 8 foot cross ties, and then 500 pieces of the bridge and trestle ties, which are 10 feet long. So, I mean, that's quite a bit of scale lumber for $75.
Yes, absolutely. And somebody said, and the thing is that since I had to shorten everything up to that, was actually glad I had this, when making the ties.
Yeah, and see, so I was told by a fellow NMRA member, he's actually our region or division president for the Central Arkansas division in the NMRA. He's an S-scale modeler, and he said, get the sugar pine stuff from Kapler Lumber Company, because he says it's less prone to warping than basswood. So, and he's an S-scaler that hand lays his own layout. So, hey, we got Drew Dude popped in. So welcome, Drew Dude. And I think there was a couple of others that popped in, and I put their name on the screen, and a couple of other people. I want to say Dave P popped in as well. And then a few other people popped out. So, and then, Steve 87's still here, and he does special orders too. Steve, that would be really cool if you could do a video there and tell him that the Train Freak recently did an order and has been promoting his stuff as well. So that'd be really cool. So, and Drew Dude says he has been lurking. So he's a lurker.
And Steve 87 S. I'm not sure what the PSAP stands for, but he's back.
Puget. It's Puget Sound and Pacific.
Ah.
So so it's funny because Steve actually mentioned about how he came up with this channel name. And a lot of people think like it's military related because it's got 87th, when 87th is HO scale.
That's what I figured.
And then the PSAP is Puget Sound and Pacific. So it's
I know.
Pretty.
Now I know earlier. Somebody was the gentleman that had saying that, I don't know what he puts all his hobbies on there, and I happened to mention that's why I went with Happy Valley Hobbies and not Happy Valley Railroad, because I have more than one hobby.
Right, and I know Heath mentioned earlier that it's tough to maintain 2 YouTube channels, and I'm actually testing the waters. I'm not just barely dipping my feet in. I'm actually jumping all in because I've been doing a lot of rail fanning on my channel as well. And I've noticed that the rail fanning videos are not doing near as well as like my layout update videos. So, and I've noticed that when I'm not posting layout update videos, but I was posting consistently rail fanning videos, my channel was not growing either. So I decided to pull the rail fanning videos. Good night, Sparky. Have a great rest of your night, and I hope you have a great week as well. So for those who don't know, I did create a second channel that is strictly going to be my rail fanning stuff. Basically to kind of split, because I think I have one group of watchers over here that just wants to see the modeling. I think I have another group of watchers over here that just want to see the rail fanning. And then I have a very, very small group here in the middle that wants to see both. So, and I think just the rail fanning stuff was not really helping my channel per se. So that's why I went ahead and created a second one. So I'm curious to see how this is going to work out as far as, running 2 channels. But no, for you, it makes sense. You put a word in there that said hobbies, which is encompassing more than just model railroading.
Yes. So yeah, and I want to, and it's one of those things eventually want to do. And the thing is, a lot of the hobbies are sort of interlinked, like electronics. It's like, there's a lot of things that have to do with, not necessarily with Arduinos and stuff like that, but that's sort of, like with DCC and LCC, that.
Oh yeah.
Electronics.
Yeah. LCC, I'm still learning it. It is a whole lot more intense on the programming side of LCC than the DCC. It's
but if I remember correctly, once you have LCC set up, I get the impression that it runs by itself unless something physically goes wrong, or you have to change something. Then you have to sort of like get it back to a working thing.
Correct. So I don't know if you got a chance to watch the train show video that I did last month. Robert from Flying Crow joined me. I actually built a demonstration layout to take to the train shows. Manshed, who was in here earlier, actually got to see it in action. But it's just a short 6 foot long, 1 foot wide LCC demo layout. And it's not just that it controls the signals without having a computer hooked up to it. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to have a computer hooked up to this for it to actually work. But you can even program it to control a turnout as well. So I had, just a basic locomotive. It was my SD40 daylight unit. It would start at one end, which was single track, and it goes to a double track or basically a main with the siding, and then single in on the other end. And once the locomotive got to the other end, I put a timer on there. I think it was like 4 seconds. That once the train hit that piece of track, it took 4 seconds, and then it would throw the turnout. And so it was always going forward down the main, and it was always going reverse down the siding. And
Gotcha.
I had it throwing both turnouts at the same time. And a lot of people were like, wow, that, like, I had quite a few people ask me about it and stuff. And then, of course, once they saw the cost, they were like, yeah, that's just a little too much for me type thing. But I mean, if you want the realism, I mean, you got to pay for it. Now, I mean, there's other channels out there that they have things like a CTI, which is a pretty good program. And you can even use JMRI to do all this stuff with like either Digitrax, LocoNet, or, the NCE products that I used to use. But the beauty of LCC is to take the computer away from it. Use a computer to program it, but to run it, you take the computer away from it.
Yep.
Now, if you're trying to do CTC, like what I'm doing, where you actually have a dispatcher control everything, then you got to kind of have some computer control there. But it's like with my buttons, I'm not using any ground throws on the layout because I don't really want hands on the layout. So even though it's not prototypical for a switching area where someone would use a ground throw, blah, 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 I'm looking at, I would rather put in tortoises with push buttons than have someone reach over and possibly damage some type of scenery on the layout. So, and what's really nice is the fact that the buttons on the main line, you can disable them in JMRI or what's called a veto. So that way anybody could push a button on the main line, but if that button's vetoed by the dispatcher, it won't throw the turnout. So I thought that was a really, really neat feature as well.
Yeah, and it also depends on the size of your layout also. Mine's only about 8 foot long, 1.5 feet wide. And basically what I'm using is a simple double throw, double pole switch.
Yeah.
Connected with the...
like a push rod?
Yeah, it's a push rod, which is made out of... the push rod's made out of a bamboo skewer, and... The button itself is a drawer pull, which I had to cut the sides off and all that because this is recessed. And happen to realize that, oh, wait a minute, having it recessed makes it so nothing hits it, but at the same time, you can't grab onto it. So that's why I had to cut it that way so I can actually pull on it.
Yeah. All right, Roy Eltham's out for the night. Take care, buddy. I hope you have a great week as well.
Yep, absolutely.
So the question is from Heath is, how often are you in your layout room and you do not have a computer? For me, it's not very often, but for the train shows and whatnot, when I'm taking that demo layout, I didn't take my laptop with me I let it run its own thing. And I mean, all the signals change. I mean, of course, you have to go and program it and stuff. And then, of course, now when TCS gets their system out, if it's not already out to where people can buy it, then you can start programming specific trains to run automatic schedules, and you can do, your own train while working around other trains that are automatically controlled. But I know it's going to be a lot of programming. I think that's something Roy Eltham and I want to say Boulder Creek Yard plans on doing. So I don't know if Heath is going to get to that point or not. So it'd be curious to see.
Well, Heath might get to it eventually. The question is, what scale would it be in?
Well, he's building that Riverside transfer in N scale, so I would assume it would be that one. But the only thing about that is it's not a. I think it's a point-to-point layout. I don't think it goes all the way around his office.
Yeah, I know. I also know ours trains is sort of following in Heath's footsteps, because he started out with O gauge 3 rail, then went to 8. Now he has HO scale, and now he's getting into 1.5 inch.
Oh wow! Yeah, definitely sounds like he's following Heath's footsteps. So, all right. Well, it looks like a lot of people have popped off and out of the chat, which tells me that it's starting to get a little late. So yeah. I think I'm going to go ahead and end this stream here pretty soon. So Edward, I appreciate you hopping on and being a part of the show. Definitely. So I hope you have a great week, my friend. And like I said, you're doing really, really good on that that diorama, the bridge thing. That's really, really cool. So
all right. Well, thank you.
Yep. So, all right. Well, take care, and we will see you next time. All right. So, well, guys, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, no more trolls in the basement. Well, that's because Split Rock didn't come up in the basement. So, Heath didn't come up in the basement either. Actually, a lot of y'all did not come up in the basement. But anyways, so congratulations to both Dwight Curley, Shay's N scale for winning the locomotives. And yes, I know a few of y'all are upset about the fact that I said only boxcars and not refrigerated boxcars. Got to pay attention to the questions. So I know a few of you are upset that you were off by either 1 or 2 on the answer, but you got to pay attention to the questions carefully, because that could make or break you. So I will plan to do another contest again. Probably when I get, let's see, I don't even know where my channel's at. Probably, let's say 2,500 subs will probably be about the next time I do it. So, or 2,000 subs, depending on where I'm at. So Dwight said I watched that video 20 times. So there you go. Yep, I'm telling you, the questions, like I said, will make or break you. So other than that, like I said, congratulations to you two for winning the locomotives. Thank you for everyone who popped up on the stream and was a part of it. So tonight, y'all helped make Sidetrack Sunday successful, considering that my original plans fell through. Thank you to the channel members that were in the levels that they could vote. I appreciate your vote and suggesting that we do just a regular hangout session tonight. I had a whole lot of fun. So thank you so much. All right. So Edward says I'm at 1.28. So probably the next one will be at 2,000 subs. And that's probably when I'll do the next contest. So if I don't feel like doing one before then, who knows? Maybe I'll just do a contest just to do a contest sometime. Why does it have to be about subscribers, you know? So other than that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Y'all be safe out there and have a great week and happy railroading.